Hello, my friends. Unfortunately, the Russians have started pushing our defense in mass, and they are making progress. Despite difficulties across the front line, the Ukrainian Armed Forces movement in the south continues, and we are also achieving success. But before I share all the details, I want to remind you not to forget to share this video on social media and watch it to the end. It really helps the advancement of my channel. Today, there are three very challenging directions along the entire front line: Kupiansk, Bakhmut, and Avdiivka. It's in these directions that the Russians are trying to advance and capture territory. Contrary to expert predictions, we see that the Russians have managed to accumulate so many reserves that the attacks haven't ceased along the entire front line for over a month, and there are even small successes. Therefore, the commander of the Ukrainian Armed Forces, Serhiy Yanayev, has concluded that if the Russians have such significant resources, they may try to increase the front line again and initiate offensive actions towards Kiev and Sumy. And friends, what do you think about this? Be sure to share your thoughts in the comments. Now, let's move straight to the Avdiivka direction, as the situation here is the most challenging. According to the latest reports from the Ukrainian Armed Forces, it became known yesterday evening that the Russians are gradually expanding their foothold on the northern flank. It's a small advancement involving the capture of some positions. However, it seems step by step they are managing to press our defense with a large number of troops. Battles are still ongoing in the Stepove and Novokalynove areas, even beyond the outskirts of the city near the industrial zone, following yesterday's successful advance of another 700 meters. These battles are accompanied by a significant amount of shelling. Fights are also taking place in the Pervomaiske area, with no successes for the Russians, and the front line remains unchanged. In the Bakhmut direction, the situation is also very complex, but the Ukrainian Armed Forces are holding their positions and not retreating, so there are no changes along the front line in the past day, although attacks continue both in Klishchiivka and Andriivka. In the area of Krimenna and Siversk, the occupiers are conducting shelling both along the front line and attempting to strike in the rear to destroy as much Ukrainian Armed Forces equipment as possible. However, they haven't achieved significant success, and the front line remains unchanged. In the direction of Svatove, the occupiers haven't shown much activity so far. All previous attacks have been repelled, and there are no changes. In the Kupiansk direction, the situation is also complex. The occupiers actively advancing, the assaults on Synkivka continue, and since yesterday, battles for Ivanivka have resumed, with no cessation in fighting. Moreover, shelling is taking place along the entire front line. Although there are no changes and the Russians haven't succeeded in breaking through the defense in the past day, the Ukrainian Armed Forces describe the situation as follows.
On Lyman Pershii, the situation is tense but stable. Over the past 3 weeks, the enemy has suffered heavy losses from drops. The guys are working very well. In such conditions it is very difficult for the orcs to conduct assaults. Despite the constant shelling, every piece of land where there is a potential risk of losing control over positions is mined on our side.
Now, let's move on to the southern directions. In the area of Vuhledar, the occupiers have once again intensified and are advancing towards Zolota Niva and Staromaiorske. Shelling continues along the entire front line as well. However, this hasn't led to success for them, and the front line remains unchanged. In the Zaporizhzhia direction, the Russians continue to advance in the Robotyne area. They haven't achieved success, but the attacks have been ongoing for several days now. At the same time, shelling is taking place along the front line. The Ukrainian Armed Forces, for the time being, are not conducting new offensive operations in this direction, and it seems that the counteroffensive in this direction has been completely halted. Now, all hope rests on the Kherson-Crimean direction. It seems that there might soon be a significant success. In Crimea, the Russians lost the entire first line of defense due to the large waves that washed away the defensive structures they had been building on the beaches all summer. All the trenches, sandbags, and structures they erected, they were swept away by massive waves.
Песочница уже не в бассейне. Все, первый этаж. До свидания.
Да, еще больше.
Жесть. Просто.
Видишь, там нет?
Глянь, как вода фигачит.
Еба.
Разворачиваются.
Разворачиваются?
Да. Смотри, что там творится. Я не знаю, проедем или нет.
Я не знаю.
Уже все рвет.
Once the wind subsides, there will be an opportunity to advance. However, on the left bank, the Ukrainian Armed Forces continue to hold their positions and don't retreat. The Russians complain that any attempt to approach closer results in artillery from the right bank destroying their formations, and the Ukrainian Armed Forces continue to expand their foothold. Russian military correspondents, influenced by the Kremlin, widely claim that the Ukrainian Armed Forces are no longer present on the left bank and that they have supposedly successfully eliminated them. However, it seems there are still correspondents who are telling the truth.
Ossetian said that. The armed forces of Ukraine are finally coming out of the southern landings. But Rybar wrote about this on 24.11. Russian servicemen were able to counterattack near Krinky in the Kherson direction. Soldiers of the armed forces of the Russian Federation knocked the enemy out of the landing south of the settlement. On our own behalf, we would like to clarify. No one knocked anyone out of nowhere or came out. The situation remains the same, tense. With the forces that we have, we cannot knock them out of the bridgehead, let alone out of the forest.
As it appears, the advancement of the Ukrainian Armed Forces on the left bank is causing significant difficulties for the Russians, but they are unable to do anything about it. Meanwhile, Russian propagandists have broadcasted live showcasing the only route from St. Petersburg to Helsinki.
Выглядят нынешние маршруты из Санкт-Петербурга в Хельсинки через единственный работающий КПП на финской границе. Все остальные финны закрылись, пытаясь выслужиться перед Вашингтоном и НАТО. Ведь беспрецедентную угрозу для США представляет именно наша страна и ее союз с Китаем.
Meanwhile, it seems that Russian opposition businessman Yevgeny Chichvarkin believes that Putin won't announce a new wave of mobilization because there are already many individuals willing to go to war in Ukraine, attracted by the substantial sums offered to contract soldiers. According to Chichvarkin, those recruited for the war in Ukraine in Moscow are immediately paid $7,000, and if needed, this amount could be increased to $10,000. Russian military personnel stationed in the war zone receive a monthly salary of 200,000 rubles, which is $2,258, which is almost 3 times more than the average salary in the Russian Federation, which was $778 in August 2023. In some regions, it is 4 or 5 times higher. According to Russian authorities, more than 40,000 people sign contracts for participation in the war in Ukraine every month, while Ukrainian intelligence estimates the number to be around 20,000.
Я думаю, что не будет никакой мобилизации. Они в Москве платят 7 тысяч долларов, если ты подписываешь контракт с Минобороны. Это не шутка юмора ни в какой стране. Это деньги, на которые там ты что-то можешь в своей жизни, бедной жизни, сдвинуть. Вот, поэтому, так как у них, они решились уже на такие деньги, ну, в какой-то момент поставят 9. Поставят 10.
15.
15 даже не нужно. За 10 приедет вся бедная часть юго-восточной Сибири, Южного Урала, приедет северная часть, приедет Петрозаводск, Ленобласть, Новгород, Псков и Великие Луки приедут. Потому что
Причем все.
Это большие деньги, это большие деньги. Нет, не все, кто без совести, да. Приедут те, кто без совести и у кого выбор, как, цитирую, сторчаться от соли или детям оставить хотя бы двухкомнатную квартиру.
And that's all from me. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell to stay updated on all the latest news. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye bye.